When it comes to landscaping and curb appeal, I've got 5 tips plus a few extra bonus tips that are gonna help you get where you wanna be. When it comes to tip number 1, I'm gonna be referencing garden beds. Now, as far as the layout of your garden bed goes, there's a few simple tools that you probably already have around the house that are gonna help you make sure you get everything lined up just how you want. We're gonna start with a hose as well as some string. Now you can probably see where I'm going with this. The hose is flexible, but not too flexible. And a string is gonna be perfect for a straight line. So this is going to allow you to lay out your garden and get that organic look that everybody's going for. And this is gonna give you that straight line. But it's not limited to just a straight line. By tapping some spikes in the ground and pulling this from one end to the other, you can also wrap this around a tree and use it to trace out a diameter. Or if you just need a perfect circle in your lawn somewhere, you can simply hammer a stake in the ground and trace that out. Whether you're using a hose or a string, it is gonna be ideal to go ahead and mark those lines with a can of spray paint. And that is going to set up the next step in the process, which is cutting the perfect edge in those garden beds. Okay, to get started, I'm gonna begin by raking back some of this mulch away from the edge. Since we need to dig that edge out, I'm gonna get this mulch back into the garden bed, and then we can begin cutting that edge with our edger tool. Okay, so you've got your garden bed all laid out, and now you're trying to figure out how you're going to cut the edge so that it not only looks good, but you can keep the grass from growing into the garden bed. And the problem with that is eventually it is going to work its way into the garden bed. So everything that you do, whether it be plastic edging, you're going to have to keep up with it after a couple of years. You might get a little bit longer with some plastic edging. However, a good clean line like this is not only easy to achieve, but it's easy to maintain. Whereas with plastic edging, when it comes time to repair it, you're gonna have to rip it all out, clean it up, put either new stuff back down or come back to a nice clean edge like this. Now the way to get a nice clean edge like this is to make a vertical cut about 4 inches deep into the soil and then taper back your garden bed on about a 45-degree angle. That will allow you to add the mulch to your garden bed and roll it over into a trough of mulch, and that will keep the lawn from growing into the garden bed. All right, so now that I got this whole edge kind of cleaned out with the edging tool, I'm gonna come back and just clean up the edge of the lawn so any grass that is hanging over gets kind of cut off before we backfill it with that mulch. Now, when you're edging a garden bed like this, even with the mulch back in, what I normally do is I take the edger or string trimmer and I flip it over upside down, and then you hold it like this and you walk backwards. That's because when this rotates, it's gonna be kicking out all the mulch and grass clippings that way. So if you're holding it upside down and walking backwards, it's all the spray is gonna be away from you. So the next tip on the list is going to be pruning trees. Now, trees, some of the limbs on this tree need to be cut up because the tree is too low to mow under. Otherwise, you might just need to prune the trees. Usually people go straight for the chainsaw, which these are a lot of fun to play with. However, that is a big, expensive, and dangerous tool. The other thing is with the chainsaw blade, you can't really get down into the dirt. What you might not know is that reciprocating saw that's been collecting dust that you got in that combo kit, all you gotta do is put a pruning blade on the end of it and you're ready to go rip through some limbs and prune some trees. Not only is this gonna cut through small limbs really quickly and efficiently, it's gonna be safe because it's only going when you got the trigger on it. It's not a loud, obnoxious tool like a typical chainsaw is, and you can bury this blade in the dirt and it's no big deal. When it comes time to replace the blades, they're super cheap and inexpensive to replace. Therefore, this is tip number 2 on the list. Now tip number 3 is going to be for planting and lawn care. When it comes to planting, there is an auger attachment for your drill. If you haven't seen these, I highly recommend you go get one. It's perfect. It's the perfect size for planting small plants, but also you can drill a few holes around larger plants, loosen up that soil and get it out with a small shovel before putting your plant into the ground. Now another thing you want to do before putting a plant into the ground is you want to add a little bit of starter fertilizer to the hole, and you can mix that in with the additional soil as well as the existing soil. Mix that all together and then pack that around your new plant into the ground, and then you can take the bottom of a shovel or the butt end of a shovel and pack that soil in around the plant so that there's no voids in the air, and all of these steps are going to give your plant the best chance for success. On the other hand, as far as managing your lawn, you've got a few different options. Now, one, you can do all the research yourself and figure out what you're gonna need to put down, go to the store, get the right stuff, come back, put it down, and you're good. Or you can hire one of those expensive lawn services to come out and apply it for you, and it takes all the work off of your plate. The third option is a brand like Sunday, who actually will customize a lawn plan for you based on your address, figuring out exactly what you need, what time of year you need to put it down, and they will deliver it to your doorstep, making it quick and easy to do all the extra legwork behind the scenes and get you the product you need to put down on your lawn. Now, the custom plan that Sunday put together for me included the Core Endurance, which is going to help promote growth in the early springtime. And then they provided the Core Sea Green, which is going to help keep things green in the late summer when we've got those hotter, drier months. So if you want to learn more about Sunday Lawn Care, make sure you check out the link in the description, which is getsunday.com/engineer, and use code engineer20 to get 20% off all lawn care plans. When it comes to maintaining your concrete, whether that be your sidewalk or your driveway, your approach, whatever it may be, eventually it's inevitable, we're gonna end up with cracks in the concrete. Luckily, DAP has the perfect product to fill those cracks. It is a dry mortar mix, their concrete crack filler. It's got a dry polymer and zero shrinkage, which is great because you simply just pour it into place, level it out with a brush, and then come back and mist it. Within 4 hours, it's ready for light use, and it's fully cured within 24 hours. Now, a bonus tip for maintaining your concrete is pressure washing. We all know that pressure washing your house is a good idea if you've got some mold or mildew on there and you need to get that off. That's pretty straightforward. But when it comes to concrete, whether it be pavers or your actual concrete approach, your sidewalks or whatnot, people break out their pressure washers all the time and go to town with the nozzle that came with it. The problem with that is you always will end up with lines in your concrete, and it just looks really, really bad. Now, if a turbo nozzle came with your pressure washer, this is going to be a better alternative than the standard nozzle. This is going to swirl the pressure washer head around. This kind of swirls around in there and creates more disbursement of the pressure itself. But I highly recommend this attachment right here. This is a surface cleaner, and the cool thing about this is it hooks directly to the nozzle on your pressure washer, the handle, and this thing inside spins around at about 1,000,000 miles an hour, and it gives you a very nice, even, consistent clean. It's even nicely encapsulated so that all the overspray doesn't go everywhere. It's self-contained underneath of this. It keeps the nozzle head and the exact height off of the surface, so you get that nice consistent clean. And not only does it do it consistently, it does it way faster because you're cleaning this entire surface area versus just a small area with even the turbo nozzle. So I highly recommend go out and get a surface cleaner and clean your sidewalks and concrete approaches, even your paver patios and all that stuff, and you will thank me. Now that you've got your landscaping all dialed in, you can really make it pop at night with some outdoor lighting. Which brings me to my 5th and final tip, outdoor lighting. It is an easy way to make this landscaping come alive at night by adding some indirect lighting to those feature plants, whether it be trees or shrubs that you really want to highlight. If you've got some great hardscapes in your yard like we do with boulder walls, you can also highlight those as well. That soft indirect lighting is really easy on the eyes and looks great at night. If you want to go for a permanent approach, you can hardwire those lights in. It takes a little bit more work, but it is worth it in the long run. Or if you want to go for the cheap and easy route, you can get some simple solar lights, and those will work just as well, even though you might have to replace them every few years. As a matter of fact, we've actually mixed the two. When we were building the house, we installed some permanent hardwired lights to accent those retaining walls. And then once we got all our landscaping done, we came back in with some solar lights to really accent the plants that went into the garden beds. Thanks for watching all the way through the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned some new tips and tricks when you're landscaping at home. If you got any good ones yourself, make sure you post those in the comments. And if you want more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button right there so you won't miss out on those future videos. Until next time, be safe and happy building.